see stars in your eyes. I see stars in your eyes. I see stars in your...
Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about what I read in the months of December and November. Let's get started. You may or may not notice that my hair is slightly different. I did get it done. Got new extensions put in. I'm literally obsessed with myself, even more than I was before, which I didn't know was possible, but here we are. As you may or may not know, I haven't been reading that much, or I wasn't reading that much at the end of 2021. Things are a bit different now. At the end of November, I had read 2 books, and I really didn't feel like it was worth making an entire video for 2 book reviews. So instead, I decided to wait until the end of December because it just made sense in my head. So that's where we are right now. I have 5 books to talk about. I read 2 books in November and 3 books in December. My cat is purring so loudly. I wonder if you can hear it. I also have a bug in my lap. I'm gonna try to show you because he looks so cute. But literally all of the cats are in the room right now, and it is literally so cute. I'm gonna die. The bug is starting to purr as well. Listen. I am literally the most lucky bitch in the world. Like, literally, if I ever complain about anything, smack me in the fucking face and remind me of this moment, because holy fuck, my cats are so cute. Honey. Mama's sleeping too. You can kind of see her a little bit. I need you to know that your worthiness, your value, is not dependent on anything. I think it's easy for us to get caught up in the culture, you know what I mean? And think like, oh, well, if I'm not this weight, if I don't have this kind of hair, if I don't look this way, if my eyes aren't this big, if my mouth isn't this big, if my waist isn't this small, like, I think it's easy for us to like get lost in what truly gives us value, which is nothing, because our value and our worthiness as human beings is completely inherent. It's already there. It's like already baked into the DNA. Do you know what I mean? I want you to feel comfortable literally in whatever skin you're in, whatever you have at the moment, which is hard. Like, don't get me wrong. I hate my natural hair, which is why I have extensions. So I understand that like it's hard to do, to like feel comfortable with what you have. If there are certain things you can't change, like the size of your eyes or your lips or your weight, or, you know, how big or small your arms are, I want you to know that like your worthiness isn't dependent on any of that. You are enough simply by being you, simply by existing. You are perfectly enough. You may think you're too fat to be worth anything. You may think that you're too ugly to be worth anything. You may think you're too stupid to do anything or be worth anything, and that is a fucking lie. There are no rules, and any rules you think there are, they're constructs. They're made up, just like money. You do not need to perform any kind of femininity or masculinity for anyone. You do not have to look a certain way to be admired or loved. Just you being the way you are is enough. Period. You're a bad bitch. Keep being the best. Keep being the baddest. Oh my god, my voice. I fully believe in you, and I'm proud of you. If you're new to my wrap-ups, what happens generally is we talk about the books from our least favorite to our most favorite. Without any further ado, let's get started. By far my least favorite book of the last 2 months is Soul and Tongues by Felix Blackwell. This is a horror novel that I think started out on like Reddit or something, and it's meant to be based on like a true story kind of thing. I don't know if it actually is. I expected to love this book. I did do a reading vlog, by the way, on my Patreon. If you're interested in seeing it, there's a link to my Patreon down below. You can always join if you're interested. This is about Felix and his wife and their journey with a monster kind of thing. Basically, they go to this cabin, it's like secluded, they think it's gonna be this like wonderful romantic getaway kind of thing. This like monster shows up and like starts whispering to them, and Felix's wife starts whispering back to it, which is kind of fucked up. And then the story goes on from there. Let's break this down, okay? The characters of Felix and his wife. Am I meant to care? You know what I mean? Like that's the question I have. Am I meant to care about Felix? Because if I'm being honest, and I would never lie, I don't really care about Felix. I don't really give a flying fuck about Felix, to be honest. About half of the book, I just wondered, like, why is this book from his perspective? The book is from Felix's perspective. Felix is not the one affected by the monster. He's just basically there. He just knows somebody who is. Like, why was the book from his fucking perspective? I don't understand that. On top of that, his wife has no real character development, in my opinion, other than the fact that she's married to Felix. And that's not great. All of the other characters in the story are either like their family or local indigenous people who know about the folklore of the monster. I'm not going to give anything away. Then in terms of plot, the first half of this book is exactly what you want. For me, at least for me. Like, for me, it was exactly what I wanted when I needed. The second half of the book, Mr. Blackwell takes a fucking hard left and things become kind of repetitive. And I think what it is really is that he starts off like here and then he has nowhere to go. He has nowhere to go with it. Really, what happens is it just plateaus eventually because he can't possibly go any further than what he's already gone with. The second half of the book feels meandering, feels kind of like, okay, cool, what else is there? Like, it feels as though you're reading the same thing over and over and over again. I don't want to say anything that might spoil the book for anyone. There are certain things in the book, especially towards the end, that I question, specifically how he deals with the indigenous characters, and specifically how he seems to be aware of how he treats the indigenous characters, but still does it anyway. There's a section at the back of the book where he talks about natives in fiction. To be honest, I haven't read that section of the book, but it does seem strange to me that he would treat the natives, the indigenous characters, a certain way in the book, and then have a section about how native or indigenous characters are portrayed within fiction. Like, you're part of the problem. Again, I have not read this section. It almost seems as though he's like fully aware of what the book is doing, but doesn't want to change the book, also doesn't want to not acknowledge it because he wants to seem like a good white. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's something kind of fucked up about like doing the harmful, stereotypical, cliche thing in your book and then calling yourself out for it. Like, that seems fucking weird. Like, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but I don't like the way he handled the indigenous representation. And to be honest, the handling of the indigenous characters is kind of what really pushed me over the edge of like, oh, this is bad. And like, oh, I don't like this. Originally, I gave it like 3 stars. And now I think I'm sitting more at like a 2. Because like, it's okay in terms of like writing. Like, the plot is kind of messy and the representation is just awful. Like, ugh. Anyway, yeah, least favorite of the last 2 months. Really disappointing. Honestly, this probably should have been in my worst reads of the year. I don't know why I didn't put it. I think it's because at the time I felt like it was more disappointing than like bad. But now I think But now I'm starting to think that I like really just don't like it at all, actually. And it's not even just disappointing, it's just like bad. I don't know. That's just my opinion though. Let me know what you think. From here on out, it is nothing but pretty good shit, okay? I read at least 3 5-star reads within December and November. So that's pretty fucking sweet. That's pretty fucking great, right? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. Next up, let's talk about The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. This is a newer release from Catriona about things. This is about a guy named Ted, his daughter, and their cat named Olivia. The book goes between perspectives from Ted, his daughter, and Olivia. I don't want to say anything else because I feel as though this is the kind of book you want to go into blind. What I will say is that the book is never quite what it seems. The book often will switch its narrative without any notice, with nothing. It'll just be like, this is how it is. And as a reader, to be honest, I kind of just like went with it. I was like, yeah, okay, this is exactly how it is. Like, it would give these little clues, these little hints, and you'd pick them up kind of and be like, I know what you're doing. And then literally the book just switches out of fucking nowhere and you're like, what? Rude. To be honest, I don't really know how to feel about this book. I don't really know what to think of it. And I don't really know what to say. It's such a difficult book to talk about because there are so many things to give away because it's so sensitive almost with like in terms of like spoilers or potential spoilers. So I don't want to sit here and tell you like my thought process reading it because I think that in itself would kind of be a spoiler, because this is the kind of book I think that you need to go into pretty blind. Reviewing it is difficult. What I will say though is that I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed the characters. I thought they were interesting. Specifically Ted, I thought was really, really interesting. The plot was interesting. Oh, so sweet. Just resting his paw on my boob. That's okay. Anyway, it's apparent that Catriona Ward worked really, really hard on this book. She put a lot of time and effort into it. And that's especially apparent with the plotting of the book and how the book is laid out. It's very strategic in terms of what's shown to the reader and what isn't shown to the reader. Although the little like dark gremlin demon part of me wanted a different ending, but that's literally just me. It's just me. I wanted it to be more dark, more fucked up, but what can you do? I don't know. I don't know what to say about this because I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to spoil anything. The twist fucked me up. The plot kind of fucked me up, and I really liked the characters. It was a thoroughly entertaining book. Is it perfect? No, I don't think it's perfect. But I think it's like at least 3.5 to 4 stars out of 5. And I would recommend that you pick it up, that you give it a read. Because I think for certain people, this could be potentially a 5-star read. It just wasn't perfect for me. Can I pinpoint what wasn't perfect? No, I can't. Because I'm not a good book reviewer. Next 2 books are honestly within the same, I would say, level. I can't decide which of these books I like less, because I really, really, really liked both of them. I'm gonna say that these are within like the same level for me personally. One of the books I'm talking about is They Never Learn by Lane Fargo. This is about Scarlett. Scarlett is a professor at this university, and every single year, Scarlett decides on who she wants to kill. Typically, usually, actually all the time, it's a man, because men are the worst. Scarlett will target men who are rapists or have been violent against women, and she will literally fucking murder them and make it seem like their deaths were like suicides or accidents. And it's literally iconic. At the same time, we're also following this girl named Carly, whose first year of university is started, and she's a new roommate and stuff, and she's getting like really close with this roommate, and then something awful happens to her roommate, and she has to decide what she wants to do as revenge against the guy who assaulted her roommate. Oh my god. This book is kind of how I wish Promising Young Woman had been. Not that Promising Young Woman wasn't good. It was such a good movie. Love that movie. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. I wish that in Promising Young Woman, she had actually killed the dudes. This book kind of fulfilled that fantasy for me. Scarlet is a no-nonsense kind of bitch, and I live for it. I live for it. I love it. She is the kind of person that I wish I was. Like, I kind of do wish that I was the kind of person who was like cold and offstandish, and like, you know, like people saw me and were like, oh my god, it's that bitch, and I'd be like, oh my god, yes, like people call me a bitch, like it, you know, fuels my fire. Like, I wish I was that kind of person who people did call a bitch. Although, you know what? I don't even know, actually. Maybe people do call me a bitch. I don't know. Anyway, I kind of wish I was like this cold, calculating kind of person rather than like the emotional, brash person that I am now. I loved almost every single moment of this book. Loved the revenge aspect, seeing all of these like interactions with men, which like you would think would be hyperbolized, but are actually just like how life fucking goes for women sometimes. Not only that, but I also kind of like lived for the romance. It's like kind of like lesbian moments, and I was living and dying. Also, the twist in the book literally had me fucked up. The twist was so out of nowhere, so good, so like mind-boggling that I didn't even fucking get it. The twist was so good that it confused me. The twist was so well thought out and prepared that I was literally like perplexed. Then the moment I did get it, it was just like, it was like literally like mind blown, like mind fucking blown. Are you joking? So good, so good. What's not to love about this book? You have lesbians, check. You have killing men, check. Check. You have like academics and like, you know, dark academia and shit, check. What's not to? You have hot red-headed women. Like, what's not to love? Then you have revenge. What's not to love? Everyone loves a good revenge story. If you don't love a good revenge story, you're literally lying. Like, stop lying. You're lying. Everyone loves a good revenge story. It's the facts of the universe. Next, let's talk about Near the Bone by Christina Henry. This is a thriller horror novel. I'm not sure if it's actually horror or not. Horror.
Oh, gee, what was that? It was frightening, wasn't it? It was horror.
I think it's a mixture between horror and thriller, to be honest. But oh my god, I fucking loved this. Dude, Gabby Reeds was 100% right. Gabby Reed, like, I'm literally gonna take every single recommendation that Gabby gives from now on so fucking seriously. The moment Gabby says like, oh my god, I love that book, I'm literally gonna be like, what was that, Gabby? Which book, please? And then I will literally just order it, buy it, and read it, because the bitch was right. It has like this like, you know, meek, broken woman, turn badass bitch woman, you know, like I love that shit so much. And it's kind of also a revenge story in a way. This is about a woman named Maddie. Maddie lives on a mountain with her husband. Maddie and William live on this mountain like alone. The very beginning of the book, Maddie sees some fuck shit, some like weird shit, and she goes to her husband and she's like, this is weird, and he's like, yes it is, it's God testing us or something. And Maddie's like, you're literally fucking nuts, but okay, I'm not gonna say anything, because Maddie's husband William beats her and like assaults her all the fucking time, like to the point where like she gets like, you know, black eyes, and it gets so bad that she has to like drain the fluid from her fucking eye. Like, ugh. William is a douchebag. We hate William. On top of William already just like being like the worst, you have like a monster that's like on the mountain and like threatening to kill everything. And then on top of that, you have people who are like on the mountain, like exploring, looking for this monster. It's a wild fucking ride. Oh my god. I love this book so much. You think you know where it's going. You think you understand like how everything's gonna turn out. And Christina Henry just fucking like like smacks you across the face and says like, don't even fucking question me. How dare you? Like, it's so good. Loved Maddie, the main character, so much. I loved this like dichotomy between like being meek and being like, you know, small for survival versus like this other part of her that was like brash and loud and like demanded respect. Like, I love that because I feel as like women, there are like two sides. Like, I'm gonna shut my mouth because it's probably for the best for me, versus like taking absolutely no fucking shit from anyone. Loved how much I hated William, her like limp dick husband. Hating him was half the fun of the book, to be honest. And like wishing for his demise was so fun. Loved that. It was so great. The fucking the monster, the creature, the cryptid. Is that how you say it? Cryptid? Cryptid? In the woods. So fucking cool. So fucking creepy, like literally scary. There were multiple times in the book where I felt like my heart skip a beat. You know that feeling like when you're watching a movie and there's kind of like a jump scare? Like I had that feeling several times during the book because the monster is literally and genuinely terrifying. I loved this so much. It's a wild, adventurous ride. And it's so beautifully done. The writing is gorgeous. The characterization is gorgeous. I loved every single moment of this. Loved it. Please, if you haven't read this, you need to read it. It's so good. So good. My favorite book from the last 2 months is for sure Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright. Let's talk about this fucking book, okay? Because this book fucked me up. It really fucking got me. Poppy Z. Bright does something in this book. They work to like disgust you, but then they also work on like getting into your heart and just worming their fucking way in and then like eating you from the inside out. Like, I have so many emotions about this book. So many feelings. Exquisite Corpse is about this serial killer who finds out that he is HIV positive and thus begins to plan his escape from prison. He ends up escaping from prison, finds himself in New Orleans, and meets this guy who's also into the same kind of fucked up shit that he's into. And so they decide to, you know, work together to find the perfect victim. Oh my Jesus Christ God. Like holy fuck shit. Holy fuck shit fuck. There's so many parts to this book that I loved, and like it's almost like overwhelming because it's so fucking good. The writing, first of all, Poppy Z. Bright should be named Poppy Z. Wright. You know what I mean? Like their writing is so gorgeous, so effortless, so beautifully eloquent and flawless. I loved their writing so fucking much. I listened to the audiobook and it was gorgeous experience. The guy who escapes from prison, his chapters to me were so interesting. Like it's like a nightmare that you don't want to end. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the kind of thing where you're like, I should not want to see this. I should not want to continue reading, but I can't help but be like interested and fascinated in what's gonna happen. And that's how I felt about Edward. I can't remember his name. Absolutely fucking adored him and his passages. I thought it was so interesting. And then, oh my God, Tran. Tran is a sweet angel baby and should be protected at literally all costs. I loved Tran so much. I loved his character arc. I loved his backstory. Top of like this fucked up world of all of these men with all of their feelings and all of their hatred and all of their like depravity, you have like the outer world at large, which like is completely shunning all of them because of their sexual orientation and because of their HIV status. I've said this before, but like the ending of the book made me tear up. It like made my heart fall out of my asshole. It's so good. Cannot recommend it enough. If you love gore, yes. If you love gay shit, yes. Like it's everything you could ever want, to be honest. Like who doesn't want gory shit and gay shit? That's all I ever want, to be honest. If you haven't read it, read it. like, because it took me a while to read it, and I regret that a lot because it's so good. And I can't wait to read more of Poppy Z Bright's books. Please, in the comments down below, let me know which one of their books I should go with next. I think I own Drawing Blood. My friends, my family, my familia, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you've watched it this far, by the way, let me know by using this emoji in the comments so I can see who the real ones are. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them. I would love to know, especially Exquisite Corpse and especially Near the Bone. So good, so fucking good. Oh, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe because we talk about spooky shit, we talk about creepy shit, we talk about being exquisite corpses and shit. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.